Here we are with a fresh cup of coffee. Good way to start the day. And I'm going to work on a power supply. And it's basically a power supply for the lab bench for those times where you need an extra 5 volt, 12 volt, or 3 volt. And your current lab bench power supply doesn't have another one. I'm going to take an ATX out of an old Dell computer and turn it into something usable as a lab bench supply. Now, this is going to be rough and ready down and just like you can buy stuff off the shelf to make this work. It's not going to be fancy, but it's enough to get 3 volts, 5 volts, 12 volts out and over to your stuff. And if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see more of it, I gotta say like and subscribe. Here's what I mean, what we're going to start with. It is really an off-the-shelf Dell ATX. Well, it's an ATX profile power supply out of a Dell computer. It's an old one. I think this one's 200 and something watts, maybe. I don't know if we can see what's on here. Output 5.3, 22 amp, 18 amp. It's 150 watts, SHMXC. So it's on the smaller side, but you know, for small electronics projects, this should be fine. What I'm going to do is, well, what I did actually already before I filmed this is, if you know ATX power supplies, there's a bunch of other connectors that come out. So I wanted only to use this 24-pin one, and I didn't want to make a custom one, so although I might do some other stuff on the inside here to clean it up. What I did was I cut all those other wires out, the extra ones that come out, so I have this left at the end. This is either 20 or 24. I think this is 24. There's two. There's a 20 and a 24. But then I cut them off, and I just crimped them off together so they're all out of the way. The extras down here, as you can see, just with some crushed sort of the end caps. They call them butt caps. So cut it, crimp it in, and away you go. This side, you know, we might pull it back in to get some extra out. We'll see. There's a lot of extra here that I really don't need. I would probably only have it like this long if I had my choice, but I don't have any way to crimp this right now, and I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. But anyways, so that's the power supply. For the, let me add, I 3D printed this, so here is just it's a bracket to hold it, and I'm going to put a piece of wood on the bottom, screw it down to the piece of wood, and it should be stable, and I can sit over here on the bench. To get the power out, I picked up this off of Amazon. It's already ready to go and everything's done. A little PCB with a power switch and a 20 or 24 pin connector. I guess it takes both, 20, maybe the 4 separate. And then it's got all the outputs broken out. One thing that I was, when I was reading up on how to build some of these lab bench power supplies, it turns out you need, I think it's a resistive load on one of the pins on some power supplies. This one doesn't appear to be it, but there's, I think you have to ground one of the wires in order to power it on, which the power button does. You could do it in some other way, but this thing, I will include a link in the description, and it's kind of nice. I think this was under $20 off Amazon, and there's probably other sources out there for it. But that's what it's going to come to. And that's it. So I'm just going to go power supply, that, and that piece. Let's get it in there in the picture. And that's going to be everything. So I have yet another cup of coffee here. I promised myself, and I made a goal, to publish a video. I'm going to try and go weekly every Sunday and get one out at least scheduled or published on Sunday night. Well, it is now Sunday night at like almost 11 o'clock p.m. and I haven't done that yet today. But I did get a lot of other stuff done. If you'll notice in this video, if all goes well, I should have a couple of graphics and an intro and maybe even a logo at the end of it, which I didn't have in my last video. In between all of that, well, as you saw in the video, the power supply, the part that I 3D printed to hold it down to a piece of wood, cracked victoriously, did not work.
So I printed another one, and it's out in the printer right now. Hopefully that'll be done soon. And if I can figure out how to use OpenShot, you might actually be seeing a little picture of that 3D printer somewhere right here. We'll see how my editing skills come out. I'm new to all this, but from what I've read, everybody says just jump in and do it. It's not like you can make a bad video, and I'm sure in years coming down, I'll look back on this and laugh my butt off, because this probably is horrible quality and I'll get better at it. But that's kind of one of the keys too, and that's one of the things that I want to talk to everybody about, is just being persistent and learning and learning and learning, especially if you're in a technical field. So this channel, this is one of the things that I really talk about, and I talk about it, all day long, to my staff, to my friends, anybody I can. Like, persistence pays off. But as always, I'm kind of rambling again. So I'm gonna, and I have a new microphone. So I finally have a decent lavalier microphone. Well, not decent. It's, $15 off Amazon, but we'll see how it works. This should sound better as a result. I might throw some background music in here just to see how it works. We'll see. I don't know if I'm there yet, but the lighting should be a little bit better. I think the quality might be a little bit better and the audio might be a little bit better. But next up is, while that's printing, I got some other stuff to work on. I can, at least figure out how to do better videos this week and maybe get some better footage next weekend. Coming up, I've got an RC 2014 that I have built, but I got to get back into it. That's on the future. And on the other project list, there's a bunch of stuff on the list. Those mini scopes, I want to get back to that. I've been reading the schematics a little more and understanding how the power supply circuit works. Bunch of other cool stuff coming up. I got home automation projects. I really want to do more with home automation. I've got Home Assistant and a bunch of IoT stuff around, and ESP32 is the firmware, some Tasmoda, and I want to get around to doing some Bluetooth and some other IoT stuff and see how that works. I want to play with it more, and I'd ultimately like to integrate a lot of the old electronics, like the RC 2014, with the home automation. I would love an RC 2014 that can do like Bluetooth or Zigbee, because I got a Zigbee hub. Control your house through a BBS on an RC 2014 coming over the network over Wi-Fi into Home Assistant. That would just be like the coolest thing ever. Demo that at VCF Midwest next year, if we can get a table or something. Anyways, that is all. I'm going to go back to my coffee, and hopefully you should be seeing either an outro video or a logo or both here. See you later.